It's late at night and you're looking for photography gear online. You're searching for a dopamine hit, and in a slightly hazy moment of apparent clarity, you find that photography accessory that's going to solve all of your photo problems. You click the buy button and then you run through feelings of excitement, and then the dread starts to kick in. Did I really need all that stuff that I've just bought? Is it going to end up in a pile of photography crap that we all keep in that drawer of shame that we all have in our homes? Well, my name is Will Barron and I'm an amateur landscape photographer like you, and I've got multiple drawers of shame as well. Now, I'm going to explain why all photographers purchase stuff that they regret buying in a minute. But first, I'm going to share 5 photography accessories that I've found to be absolutely priceless. And the first accessory is crazy expensive, but if it was ever lost or got stolen, I'd buy it again in a heartbeat. Okay, so this is a geared tripod head. It allows you to make small adjustments to your composition by turning these knobs, and this one is crap. It literally snapped and stopped working on a trip to Lofoten in Norway earlier this year, and after frantically taking it apart and borrowing a bolt from another photographer who was on the trip, I managed to kind of put it back together and I got it half working again. But this was such a disappointment. Now, Dem, who is a world-class landscape photographer, who is one of the pros on the Norway trip, he had this Arca Swiss geared tripod head, and I had a fiddle with it when I was out there and I was completely sold. Sure, this thing is expensive. It cost me 1,500 quid, but it's helped me slow down, really think about the photos that I'm taking, really think about the composition, and it's helped me capture a bunch of images that I'm really proud of. It's also absolutely bomb-proof, and so I imagine it's going to last me a lifetime of shooting if I even half look after it. So if you've gone bankrupt on a geared tripod head, how do you then carry this sucker to your shooting location? Okay, so earlier this year I did a video on why camera bags suck for landscape photography. They don't have a frame to keep the bag shape when it's rammed with heavy gear and it's on your back. They don't have a mesh system like traditional hiking bags to keep the bag from touching your back. It causes you to sweat, and then the sweat evaporates and you get cold. They tend to have the zip to get into the main compartment on the bag on the very back of it, where the bag is already rubbing against your back, and so water falls down and it gets in through the zipper and gets all your gear soaked. And I could go on and on and on. Most camera bags suck for landscape photography. The folks over at PGY Tech reached out to me after watching that video and they sent me one of these over. I'm groaning because it's quite heavy because it's full of stuff, right? They sent me this bag. It's called the One Pro Flex, and I've not mentioned it on the channel. You might have seen it in some B-roll videos over the past year or so, but PGY Tech aren't paying me to mention it here either. This is not a sponsored video, and the good news is that this bag solves almost all of the issues that I have when I'm out hiking with my camera gear. Now, it has it has one slight flaw, which I'll explain in a second, but PGY Tech has done a great job of addressing all of the issues that I have with the other camera bag manufacturers. First off, it has an aluminium frame, so it keeps its shape no matter how I load up the bag with gear. It also has a mesh support system on the back of the bag, so that the back of the bag doesn't come into direct contact with my back, causing my back to get wet and sweaty and gross when I'm climbing up big hills to do morning landscape photography sunrise shots. Bag also has a side access zipper so that you can quickly get into the camera compartment, and then there's an additional zipper on the back of the bag so it can open up clamshell style. And really, I wish other camera bag manufacturers would take this on board. They've done a good job here because the zipper is completely covered by the rain cover when it's on, and so there's no chance of it failing and letting rain into the bag and ruining all my expensive camera gear. They also have this little pouch at the bottom of the back of the bag, which allows you to attach your tripod to the middle of the bag, the center of it, rather than having it hanging off one side. This balances the bag out and makes it a lot more comfortable when you're on a long hike. Now, I've been using this bag for about 10 months or so now, and it's been up the mountains in Wales, the Lake District, and it's been up these mountains in some crazy weather, and it's never let me down. So I highly recommend it. But obviously, nothing is perfect. The only thing I'd change with this bag is that I'd get rid of all the additional stuff that PGY Tech has added to it, like these clasps that are meant to take some of the strain off the zip on the back of the bag, but they're always in the way when I'm trying to quickly open or close the bag up. The laptop sleeve. Why would I want to take my laptop on a big hike up a mountain? We can get rid of that altogether. I'd get rid of this random left-hand pocket that I literally never use because my water bottle sits there. I would get rid of this front pocket that I never use because my tripod is attached there. And basically what I'm saying is that if PGY Tech did a lightweight version of this bag without all the extra just stuff that's stuck all over it, it would take it from a 9 out of 10 to a true 10 out of 10 for me. So that's my hiking bag. The next accessory is an obvious one in hindsight, but it took me 2 years of just trashing my cameras, needlessly trashing my cameras before I realized that I needed it. Okay, so I spend a lot of time in the Lake District doing landscape photography. I also have a wife, a baby, and a dog. That means that my car, every time we go up there, is even with the roof box on top, is absolutely ram-packed. Now, for years, I'd throw my camera gear into my hiking bag, whether it's this PGY Tech or the more traditional hiking bags that I was using previously, and it would be placed in the car like a Tetris piece, and I'd just hope that the other end of the journey, nothing was smashed, crushed, or just scuffed up by the time I got it out of the car when we got up to the lakes. And, well, Lycos Tech noticed this in my videos and they offered to send me over this hard case. And this protects my camera gear whilst I'm shifting it from one place to another. It's not complicated, it's not really particularly expensive either, it's relatively reasonably priced. And it's just a hard case box that is waterproof. And this, as soon as I saw this, as soon as they offered to send one over, right? Again, this isn't sponsored, they've sent it over, they don't know I'm making this video, there's been no promise of videos or content. This was a real, like, palm on my face moment, because this is an obvious solution to a really common photography problem. And I use this case all the time whenever I'm transporting and lugging my expensive camera gear around in the car. And I highly recommend anyone who's doing a lot of traveling with their photography gear, especially if you're not flying. I wouldn't want to fly with this necessarily, but if you've thrown your bag in your car and you just want to get in and out and you don't want lots of faffing around, packing and unpacking, this is perfect because it opens, you get all your gear out, put it in your hiking bag, put it back in and off you go. Which leads us on to the only piece of camera gear that I never place in this hard shell box. It's on me at all times and is the best tool for composing my images. Okay, so this is not very exciting. This is an iPhone. It's last year's model and I use it more than I use my actual camera when I'm out shooting. And the reason for this is that rather than when I see a composition, stopping, taking my bag off, unzipping the bag, grabbing my camera, putting the bag back on and then holding the camera up to my face and seeing if I've got a composition that was worth bothering with in the first place, I just pull out my phone, put it in landscape or portrait, and I pull out the camera app and I take a look at the image on there first. If the composition looks good on my phone, then I'll get my main camera out and I'll take the shot. And the real value of this is that it stops me being lazy. Now, I'm not particularly lazy in general in life, but when I've just spent 2 hours hiking up a hill and there's a composition that I'm not sure is really going to work, get my phone out and framing it up before I get all my camera gear out, make sure that I don't just walk past it and just head to the top of the hill where I think the best composition is going to be. It helps me investigate compositions, shots, frame things up that I would have otherwise just gone, oh, I really can't be bothered to get my gear out to take a look at that. So you take your iPhone out, you compose your shot, you take your camera out, you grab the shot, you come back, you throw the picture on your computer, you edit it. Well, then it's time for the next accessory in this video. So a couple of months ago, I finally bit the bullet. After a couple of years of pondering on this, I finally went out and I bought the Canon Pro 1100 printer, and it is absolutely class. I love printing off my images after I've slaved away up mountains, hills and terrible weather to capture them. I find it's really rewarding to then print them off, stick them on a frame. I need to change these pictures in the background, I've not changed them in ages, but to put them on the walls of my house and have other people comment on them. That kind of feedback loop of being out, finding an image, capturing the image, editing it, printing it, and having other people admire it, well, it's pretty cool, right? Now, I'm only just getting into the printing game, and so I feel like I've got a lot to learn on that front, but it feels like, again, it completes this circle from a real life scene to digital capture to a tangible object that I can really appreciate. And this Canon printer has been pretty flawless, it's pretty easy to set up, and I'm having a slight issue with the colors of the prints coming out slightly cold, but I'm sure it's me being an idiot as opposed to the printer itself, and a quick change of color temperature within Lightroom solves that. And that is the 5 accessories that I really don't regret buying. week. So, with all that said, why is there so much photography crap in my office that I absolutely do regret buying? Why do we buy just so much crap in general? Well, my theory is that because photography is hard, we look for ways to make it easier, which is not unreasonable, right? Photography's hard, we want an easier solution. We buy stuff that we think is going to be a shortcut to photography success. And obviously, it's way easier to jump on Amazon and grab a bunch of new tools rather than going through the hard step of learning how to use the tools that we already have. But in my experience, having spent a couple of years now hanging around with some of the UK's top professional landscape photographers, they all tend to kind of be minimalists, really. All they tend to care about is shooting in epic locations, catching the most interesting weather and light, finding the most interesting composition, and then editing their photos at a high level to create magazine quality images. And we don't really need all that much gear to do any of that. So if you're tired of wasting money on stuff that isn't helping you create better photos and you want to level up your photography fast, then maybe some of my online training workshops might be a good fit. If your photos just aren't interesting, then check out my Landscape Composition Secrets training. It's going to show you the easy way to find and then capture incredible compositions no matter what gear you're using or what location you're shooting in. Otherwise, if your photos are interesting, but they don't quite look professional and magazine quality, then it's likely you've captured a great image, but you need to level up your editing. And so you can check out my Landscape Editing Mastery training, where I show you a simple 4-step process to edit all of your images within 3 minutes or less and get professional magazine quality results. I've left links to both these trainings in the description below this video, and if you still think that it's not, but if you still think that it's your gear that's holding you back rather than your skill set, then click here to watch this next video.